You're watching the SCAC Women's Basketball Media Days. It's day one, and it's time to take a look into the Texas Lutheran University Women's Basketball program. The Bulldogs, of course, coming off an 8-18 season, 4-10 in SCAC play. The Bulldogs will once again be led into the season by head coach Mel Dixon and senior guard Cami Davis. Coach Cami, first of all, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Coach, we'll start with you now entering your 7th season at the helm of the Bulldogs program. What have you really learned to love about preseason and this time of the year? And what are some of those messages that you try to deliver, through preseason to help build a foundation for a successful season?
Well, this year we're sort of, I don't want to use the word revenge tour, but it's pretty much what this is. Last year we lost 3 of our 5 starters in the first 2 weeks of the season, and to be real honest, we weren't very good last year. So we're not used to being that low in the standings and not making the tournament and stuff like that. So we've mentioned it to our players that we cannot have that ever again here. So the kids are working hard. They're getting after it. Probably the practices this year, it's not probably, I take that probably out of there. The practices this year are more intense by a long shot. And we've got something to prove this year. And I think with this group, we're going to be much, much better than we were last year. So, like I said, we've worked hard. We're working hard. We've got some new young kids coming in that play hard and get after it. Plus we've got the hurt one. 2 of the hurt kids are coming back, and those were big blows when we lost those 3 starters last year, and I think we're going to be pretty decent.
Cami, for you now in your senior season, going into your 2nd year with the program. Last year, of course, the program certainly was going through some transition, having to replace a full slate of starters from the season ago. And then you faced the adversity of some of those replacements going down with injury. For you, what did you learn about this team last year? Kind of facing all that adversity, what did you learn about this group that, gives you confidence heading into your 2nd year with TLU?
I think that last year, we definitely didn't have the best season, but we still had each other's back, and we were young, and so we were inexperienced, but we still fought, and we saw we had a lot of potential, and we had a lot of talent. And I think that that's coming into this year, that is we have a year under our belts, and we have more experience, and so I think we're just gonna go out there and attack. And I think that's what we've been practicing, is our intensity, and I think that has improved greatly from last year, and I think that that'll carry over a lot.
Coach, for you, you welcome in 5 new freshmen. You're trying to welcome back a couple of key athletes from a season ago coming off injury. You lose, nearly 20 points a night early on in the season that you talked about that are now returning to this lineup. 10 underclassmen in all. It's a unique blend of sort of some experience, some younger, student athletes. How do you kind of put that all together, and what have you seen from this group early on in the season that gives you confidence looking ahead to the rest of the year?
Well, as far as the returners, of course, we have Cami. Tara Molina's coming back off of ACL surgery, who was by far our best point guard. So we'll have her back. Casey Harrell, a kid that played a bunch of minutes her freshman year, went out with the ACL. She's slowly coming back. I think by the time we get mid-preseason or conference, she'll be back full speed. Then we have, Abby Rock, who had a tremendous freshman year, and she's with us. And then we have a lot of kids that played. But what I'm really excited about is our freshman class. We've got 3 outstanding guards in that freshman class, and a post player that's sort of unheralded, but she's the real deal also. She's not real tall, but she gets after it. Morgan Rodriguez, and that freshman class is going to be really strong. It'll be one of the stronger classes. The 2 little guards we got out of Lee High School in San Antonio were probably 2 of the best in the city last year, and they play hard. They get after you. I mean, they only know one way to play, and that's attack, and that's what we've been working on. And matter of fact, I think they've been bugging some of the older kids with how they get all over them, and it's brought a new intensity to practice. Let's just say that.
Cami, for you, you're coming off a season ago last year in which you turned in an all-SCAC second-team performance effort. You started all 25 games there at TLU in your first season, averaging 14.8 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. Take me through what this offseason has been like for you. How have you continued to improve your game to make sure you're as prepared as you possibly can heading into this senior year?
I think that for me this year, it has been huge to stay focused going into my senior year. It's crazy that it is like a senior year, so I've wanted to make sure that I'm doing what I can to be a leader for the team and help whoever may need help coming in, like freshmen or whatever it may be. I'm spending time watching film with the coaches, spending a lot of time in the gym shooting, just trying to maintain and like stay on top of it. I want to make sure I'm giving it my all. It's my last year, so I want to go out and not have any regrets.
Again, you're watching the SCAC Women's Basketball Media Days. It's day one here, and we're taking a look at the Texas Lutheran University Women's Basketball Bulldog program. Again, we're joined today by head coach Mel Dixon and senior guard Cami Davis. And coach, one of the things that stood out to me is last year you really talked about your commitment to defense and the work that the team had to put in to continue to get better on that side of the ball. Defensively, in terms of guarding the shot, you were second in the league, limiting opponents to a 36.1% field goal percentage, but giving up nearly 70 points a game. And I know a lot of that probably has to do with some injuries, and your star post going down, and so rebounding became more difficult. How do you, though, continue to kind of work on that aspect of the ball? Because clearly there were some things that you were doing well, just sort of putting it all together this season.
Yeah. Well, you can ask Cami. These first 2 weeks has been pretty much all defense, to be real honest with you. We're going to be able to pressure more. We're going to be able to get up in your face a lot more than we had in the past because, like I said, when we lost those 3 kids, well, now you're, not belittling our players, but now your second team becomes your first team, your third team becomes your second team, and it hurt us quite a bit. Again, size-wise, losing, Casey was a big deal because she was a tremendous rebounder, and that hurt us quite a bit. We gave up way too many offensive rebounds during the year. We're going to fix that, and we're going to put more pressure on the ball. So we've mostly, I'd say 80% of the practice time is spent on defense this year so far. Now, we will get around to the offensive side, but we made a commitment after last year to get much better on defense, and so far it's been working in practice. So we'll see how it goes, but I think we're going to be much better defensively than we've been in a while. And like I said, you can ask Cami about it. There's a lot of defense going on in practice, so it's one of our main goals, and we're going to play better defense than we did last year for sure.
Cami, I'll wrap things up with you. Clearly, defensively is a big focus with this team moving forward. As you've had some of those discussions with your teammates as far as putting together goals for the 2018-19 season, what have those discussions sort of looked like, and what are some of the goals for this 2018-19 Bulldogs program heading into the year?
Defense has for sure been like our top priority. It's like Coach said, that's all we've been focusing on in practice is defense, playing hard, playing tough, going out there and just giving it our all. Like they're holding us accountable of not having any days off and not slacking. So I think that that's helped in turn for us, holding each other accountable, making sure that we're going out there every day and working hard, staying on top of it, not letting each other kind of slack off, and just staying on top of making sure that every day we are improving and doing what we can to get better. And I think that's our focus right now for this year is being better than we were last year and going out there, having more intense practices, staying on top of each other, and overall working hard, going hard every second we're out there, and just staying strong for the season.
And finally, Coach, to wrap things up with you, for fans and people that are going to come out throughout the course of the year to support your women's program there at TLU, what can they expect to see night in, night out, regardless of the result? Clearly defense is a theme with this team, but what are some of the other characteristics that you hope, the people that support your program can expect to see every single game throughout the course of this season?
Well, and you said it, the main thing is they're going to see much more defensive defensive intensity, I guess. You could tell I'm an English major. But yeah, the defensive intensity is going to be there, but we've got some kids that can shoot the ball pretty good too, and we got a couple of post players that can get in there and mix it up with the best of them. So they're going to see an excited bunch to play. We have, like I said, the veterans coming back, and then add in these young kids that are, they're just gung-ho. They are all out, get after you. And like I said, it's been a few years since we've had that here. But they're going to see some excitement. Now, some of it may be good, some of it may be bad, but they will be going 110%. I can promise you that. Good, bad, or indifferent, something's going to happen. So you might want to be there just to see what happens. But I am really excited about this group this year. And I think we need to get back to where we've normally been, up towards the top of the conference, and our goal is to get back up there somewhere. So I think this group, as far as intensity, is really good. Effort is really good. I always tell them there's only two things in basketball you can control: effort and attitude. And so far this bunch is good in both areas.
The Texas Lutheran University women's basketball program, and again, the Bulldogs, will head into the season under head coach Mel Dixon and senior guard Cami Davis as they open up their campaign for the 2018-19 season on November 8th on the road at Concordia. Coach Cami, thanks again so much for joining us, and best of luck as you head into the season.
Thank you.